This video is sponsored by Novel Keys. You can check out the group buy for GMK Striker, which is running right now. Designed by Zamumon, this is a beautiful blue set designed as a tribute to the Japanese 2018 FIFA World Cup team. $100 for a core kit sounds like a solid option if you're looking for a GMK set. Check out this set on novelkeys.xyz or through the link in the description below. Now let's get to this review. This E7-v1 by Exclusive is an all brass banger. Like an amazing piece of chocolate, it's an absolute delight and an enjoyable experience. A treat to hold, build, and type on. This sweet treat is my nicest 75%, although that may change when I receive my Xeno. This keyboard is all brass and the PVD gold coating makes it undeniably visually loud. Even with the supple and creamy GMK Chocolatier set, you're not getting away from the beauty that is brass. Just like how too much chocolate can give you a stomachache, too much E7 and you might start seeing some flies. But you know what? You still enjoyed all of that chocolate when you did. So let's start off with the first bite of this keyboard, which is the build. The case, top and bottom, is held together by 8 hex screws on the bottom. The matching gold screws is an absolutely great visual touch. Once inside, switch that hex bit to a Phillips bit because who cares about consistent screwing? I care about consistent screwing. The weight can be unscrewed from the interior bottom with just a couple of screws. The PCB is a groovy orange that goes with my PVD gold case quite well. Oddly, the plate is secured by 7 screws. But is it really that odd? 7 is one of the mightiest screw amounts ever since 7, 8, 9. Jokes aside, bad jokes aside, does it make a difference? No. It looks weird, and on the PCB there's a simple reset button. It's otherwise a standard 75% affair with relatively standard options for 75% layouts. The PCB does look quite snazzy in its color and there's no complaints about the SMD soldered component or the quality of the solder pads from me. So, I built up my E7 with tangerine switches that were lubed with 3203 on the stems and 3204 on the switch bottoms. I'm a fan of these two lubes and I think they synergize really well when used in tandem. It's a relatively simple build and honestly after a while I stopped thinking about the reality that were the fingerprints that are all over this keyboard. With a keyboard like this, it's a futile effort to really fight it. Screw-in GMK stabilizers were courtesy of Novel Keys. The tangerine switches were from the round 1 buy at the key company. And the lubes I used were procured from switchmod.net. As soon as I built up this gold case, I knew I had to put GMK Chocolatier on it. Chocolate in gold foil was the theme I had for this board, and it turned out so well. Oh my goodness. GMK Chocolatier is a set designed by Zamumon and ran on Novel Keys. I think Chocolatier works out better as GMK than SA, and on this keyboard, A+. Let's get it out of the way now. How much does this brass beast weigh, Huey? Well, everyone have their guesses in mind? Okay, I built this keyboard up with keycaps. The whole weight is 8 pounds, 7.8 ounces. Let me know in the comments if that's higher or lower than what you expected. The key set may draw a lot of attention, but come on, the blingin' gold PVD is what draws even more. Although, the gold PVD finish draws more fingerprints than anything else. I had to talk about it. You simply stare at this case, and it'll start to smudge up. At this point, I've practically given up on making sure it stays smudge free, aside from taking certain pictures. If I kept it smudge free all the time, I would just never use it and just be wiping it all the time. But another problem becomes visible. So some of the close-ups, I'm sure you can see what I'm talking about. A lot of small surface level scuffs and damages, and I would be okay if they were caused by my own negligence, but a majority of these came to me as they were, and that's the real shame of it. This is why I'm also not as worried about smudges on this board, since they kind of cover it up. But my E6 doesn't have this problem, and speaking of my E6, yeah, it's also an all brass Founders Edition. I compared it side by side with this board, and my E6, despite being older and much more well used, was in fantastic condition compared to my E7. So that's a real head scratcher right there. Cosmetically, these aren't the biggest issues in the world. I mean, I use my keyboards more. I don't just put them in a display case. But when you throw the price into context, Yikes. I paid $809.69 for my E7. The shipping was an additional $72.54, so including PayPal fees, shipping, an unbuilt Founders Edition E7 will cost $882.23. For that amount, I'd hope the keyboard would ship flawlessly. I hope it'd leave the factory flawlessly. But unfortunately, the E7 could not hold up to the same scrutiny that the E6 did. And that's the real biggest bummer about this keyboard. But the typing experience, that really cheers me up. These lube tangerine switches are nice. And they're not nice just because they're tangerine switches, or that they're lubed with a particular lube, although that helps in my opinion quite a bit. They're nice because they're just nicely lubed Gatorons. It's a very simple formula of what I'm talking about. Most all Gatoron linear switches work great as platforms for linear switches. You can lube them, swap the top housing or bottom housing, spring swap them, and whatever you do can be done relatively easily and successfully and still feel pretty good with Gatoron linears. Tangerine switches, oh, these look nice and I like the sound of these with that milky top and black switch bottom. And of course, with all of that, one of my favorite keycap profiles, Cherry, make this an amazing typing experience with great switches. The typing feel is firm, the keyboard has a very neutral sound to it, so no complaints from me. And because it's so dense, it doesn't matter where I'm pushing on the keyboard, there's no inconsistencies really with the feel or sound. What doesn't hold back the typing experience, and in my opinion adds to it, is the layout. It's a 75%, but with a staggered F row, a separated arrow cluster, 2 right side nav keys, 2 islanded top right keys. I believe physical separation is important on keyboards as they get larger. It gives your muscle memory more space to feel between keys. Also, it makes for a great aesthetic. I like compacted layouts that aren't compacted, like a 75% with staggered F keys or a 65% with an arrow blocker separator. It brings out more character to the board, and for me it improves how I use the board because I like the physical separation. So, my final thoughts. Well, I've been using this board for months now, and I'm really happy with it, even despite all those small little surface issues. And at least that's not that bad for me because, you know, I don't just look at this board. I put it down on my desk. I type on it, I switch it out, once a week. It's great, but even though it's great, I might have been just as happy with the aluminum version. I might have not even needed to spend all this money for an all brass Founder Edition. It is a limited edition keyboard, which definitely, makes it feel cooler to me. But maybe I didn't really need to spend this much, and that's still okay. I'm still very happy with it. I probably wouldn't go spend an arm and a leg again for another Founders Edition unless I knew it would be as nice as my E6. So, would I recommend this board? I'd recommend the aluminum version, not this brass version, but maybe that's because I want it to stay exclusive. Who knows? Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching this short little review. I hope you all enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Worked on more keyboard content coming out pretty soon. Don't forget to check out the sponsor of this video, Novel Keys. They're pretty awesome. So, thank you everyone so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.